Hi, hello, welcome to the Consularship brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess of Leslie. I'll be your oracle today. We're just going to check in with this energy. It seems to be pretty gnarly, man. It's rather aggressive and um, it's as if something is losing its hold and it wants to like either throw a tantrum, prove a point. It wants to sneak back in and get that last lick, or even like try to get a lick back. So it can be retaliatory, and it reminds me of a very like dark feminine. Um, one of the more repressive types that wants to dominate and um, repress another energy, especially something younger or even masculine. So, just for those watching, masculine doesn't always mean male assigned at birth or identified. It could mean the the part of us that's independent, or self-thinking, or self-oriented, or self-guided. You know, the part, not the part of us that's communal or relational or nurturing or creative. It's that part of us that is seeking or striving. And also, it's not always about the seeking and striving and the hustling. It could just be the part of us that is, you know, forward moving or active or strategic or methodical, if that makes a sense. So I'm getting also that there's something about us that is viable, worthwhile, covetable. There's also this energy of projection. So it's as if they don't want us to come into like, destiny, birthright, any type of abundance. Also, they want to make sure that we're sequestered away from love, that we can't unify with other energies, entities, ideologies, that we can't be out there, you know, entering into unity, community, and or partnership. Also, there's this lack of wanting us to be hit by Cupid's arrow, which is more than just love. It can be a stroke of passion, a stroke of luck, a stroke of idea, a creative spark. There's also, okay, so you see, like, there's this very manipulative energy that doesn't want us to come up, to leg up, to handle up, to boss up, to G up, to glow up. It really wants us repressed, suppressed, repressed, depressed, oppressed. It wants us to give up on life. It almost as if it wants to either push us out of the way in our own life and take over and live our life for us, or suppress any type of birthright, destiny, opportunity. It might even be covetous because it's jealous or it wants to steal or doesn't want to see us shine. This is what the energy is giving. There's a lot of projected energy at us because I feel like around the corner is some type of achievement, leg up. And we can't even be coming into our birthright. That's our spirit, our life path, destiny. There's this also touch of grace on us that I'm detecting, where the hand of God might be on us. Also, we could be very clear or clean or pure as a soul, meaning we've gone through a lot, we've experienced a lot. However, we're not in this miserly or bittered energy. We're still loving, caring, kind. We're still buoyant, joyful. We still have hope, faith, optimism for the future. We're still generally in a spirit of gratitude, in a spirit of grace. There's this energy of envy. Six of Pentacles in reverse could be envy, could be greed. Six of Pentacles is also about receiving favor. So, hi, hello, welcome. The baseline energy for this reading, this meeting today will be the Six of Pentacles, the Lover's card, the Nine of Swords, and the King of Pentacles. So, whatever else we discussed today, again, I want to repeat, for this consularship, the baseline energies is going to be Six of Pentacles, the Lovers, Nine of Swords, King of Pentacles. So Six of Pentacles is receiving grace. Okay. All the sixes is kind of like a gift from God. It's what happens when we descend into the physical. With the King of Pentacles here and the Six of Pentacles, we're beginning to manifest this grace. We're manifesting out of the, it's not, excuse me, the Six of Pentacles is actually receiving favor. I apologize. Six of Swords is receiving grace. Six of Pentacles is receiving favor. So whatever gifts we've been given from the divine, we are actually beginning to manifest out of. And there is an energy, entity, ideology that is trying to attach to us. Nine of Swords can be a spiritual attachment. It's backfiring. There's some kind of backfire energy. Also, there's unity, community, and partnerships that someone or something is kind of like cast out of. So they might have tried to do an unsanctioned spiritual marriage. They might have tried to attach to ourselves spiritually. This Lover's card actually happens to be the higher astral all the way to the lower part of the sixth dimension. So it's the exalted beings, the spirit team, the ascended masters, the benevolent ancestors, the ones that go to the white light when they pass in transition, the ones that can completely clear the lower astral. So they're not earthbound, they're not stuck, they're not disincarnate, they're fully embodied and awakened spiritually, yet they choose to work on assignment for the betterment of humanity or a timeline. Somebody with a high calling on their life. That's what the Lovers card represents. It represents the lower heaven. So these are all the heavenly beings or the ascended guides and masters or the highly purely blissfully exalted ancestors. So there's this energy from the other side that they're getting cast out, they're getting denied, they're getting rejected. If there's any type of orchestrations, machinations, this is backfiring. There's just something for this other side, whatever oppositional, adversarial, whatever other entity, energy, ideology that we're coming up against, whether it's inimical, adversarial, whether it's malignant, malicious, malevolent, whatever this energy is, this oppositional, it's experiencing some kind of backfire. Something's not working right. There also may be a little bit of Mars in Gemini or Mars in the third house. So something wants to go, go, go. It wants to impose. It wants to get us to trigger, to act, to react, to respond. We're too cool, calm, and collected, methodical, practical. And so that's also another chaos tactic about like if we're not responsive and we're reactive, if we're on our toes all the time, it can get us to do something that compromises our position. Because Two of Swords, it's of an opposing mind. Queen of Wands, it wants to be the center of our world, the center of our attention, and that's the truth. It wants some affection, adoration, appreciation, affection, acknowledgement, something of that nature. It might even want to be seen as bigger, broader, and better. Yeah, so we have something here that it's upset because we have like nine lives, or we're spiritually strong, or you hear what I'm saying? Like something's not working, and on the way towards the Libra full moon, there's gonna be this declaration of damnation or curse. They know that their fate is nearly sealed, and there's not much more they can do. And then we have a pair of nines here. Pair of Nines talks about the need to take space. So Queen of Wands, Lover's card. Again, I want to repeat that the baseline for this reading, the overall energy for this entire counselorship today is Six of Pentacles, Lovers, Nine of Swords, King of Pentacles. Moving forward, however, from said energy, whenever you see the Queen of Wands with the Lover's card, it can talk about a couple few things. First of all, that's like a Gemini midheaven, to a lesser degree, Virgo rising. So there's this methodical energy here that is running down a list of tactics, modus operandi, strategies, agendas, motives, and it's just not working. They might be, okay, so the word I'm hearing is schizoid. This is a therapeutic space, it's not a clinical space. Um, Myself personally, I can only legally diagnose nutritional deficiencies or substance use disorders. However, this is of a two mind. That's what I mean. Sometimes when you see that word, and I shouldn't be saying much more on that matter. Again, I repeat, this is a therapeutic space. This is not a clinical space. But they are of two minds, maybe even in the type that is haunting them. So there is some kind of up at night or energy taking over. They may be kind of checked out. Something might be driving the vehicle, something might have entered the vessel where they're not 100% in themselves. They might not have autonomy, franchise, and control over their own being. Does that make sense? It's the type of attachment, and there's going to be some type of declaration soon where their fate is sealed, because they're already teetering on damnation, and they're living a damned life, cursed. So it's as if they want to get us to change their mind, or they want to get us to engage with their energy, or to come down off the throne, or to be more easily accessible, approachable, agreeable, amenable. They need us to play ball with them, but it's a toxic ball. The thing is to walk away from the field, to not play the game at all, if that makes sense. Um, they're okay, yeah. So as I said, Ten of Cups. Okay, so Five of Wands, Page of Pentacles, Chariot. Yeah, so we're overcoming something. We've been victorious. When frankly, it's designed to get us to. They want to take our powers, our gifts, and there's a karmic lesson here. But the thing is that we've already learned it. They're trying to find a way to get us to engage with whatever energy, entity, ideology that they're projecting towards us, because they've volunteered to distribute Page of Pentacles. With the Nine of Swords, it's a backfire, it's a fail. We already have the Chariot on our side, which means we will be victorious, and we are the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands, Nine of Wands, meaning it means needing to stand strong because we're entitled to something. And as the battle carries on, as the fight persists, in the light of day, when victory is declared, it will prove that we were always going to be victorious by virtue of our being. That's what happens when you see the Queen of Wands, Nine of Wands, especially when it's on our side. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's best that the Queen of Wands is on our side here in this situation. So it's furthermore compounded. There's a confirmation here with the Chariot. We're going to win, period, point blank, end of story. As long as we don't come off the throne, Five of Wands, as long as we don't engage in this little whatever, whatever that is, it's backfiring for them in the worst kind of way. Nine of Swords, it's keeping them up at night, it's haunting them. And also, I want to say, if they've projected any type of energy our way, whatever energy they're sending at us, if it boomerangs back to them, they can't take it. So they're taking shots at us that if we took at them, they wouldn't survive. Okay. So I think that's a sign of desperation. And now we're on our third nine. Three nines in a reading means forced isolation. This is the third reading in as many days where triple nine has come out. 999 also means that we're having an expansion of completion of cycles, and it means that we're getting an extra spiritual rank. It's here with the Chariot card. We're about to have a rank increase. Five of Pentacles, Nine of Cups, Judgment with the King of Wands. So we are victorious. We are unified with great spirit. Now, they tried to marry us in the spirit. It was an unauthorized union, and they are under celestial judgment has already convened, and it's already been decided that they're guilty. Nine of Swords, and I don't see their sentence yet. That comes in the 10, because yeah, they might be withdrawn from heaven. They might lose their place in the heavenly choir and be forced to be stripped while still walking the earth. So they'll be disconnected from source. They're going to lose all their divine credentials. They won't be able to access the firmament at all. So they won't be able to tap into any type of celestial privileges whatsoever. And it's been happening for a long time. So there's been slow, methodical, repetitive investigations into their both earth and celestial. Six of Swords. So we did receive grace, as I said, Six of Swords. We also received favor, Six of Pentacles. So victory has already been assured to us. Chariot with the King of Wands. Period, point blank, end of story, victor, triumph. King of Wands, Queen of Wands also means some type of power couple or spiritual couple. Now, it also means here, because we have corresponding astrological energy. So if there's no power couple, it could mean that we have a Virgo rising and or Pisces rising, that we might have some type of Sagittarius midheaven or Gemini midheaven. I'm detecting that we have some kind of Virgo energy here. There is a Virgo rising. we do have Virgo rising and Pisces, to be honest. But for the Pisces rising, Jupiter or Mars would be in the first or 12th house. Definitely in the sign of Pisces. We have Knight of Pentacles, Six of Swords, Eight of Pentacles, Ten of Wands, World card. So the sentence, the judgment. The funny thing is, Spirit has put their punishment in our hands. And I'm going to say it to us like this. The Spirit has said to us, the cosmos, the universe has said to us, what do you want us to do? Because they were already stripped and they received notification of this. They're wondering why their privileges or their powers are diminishing. And they were given notice. They were able to be read in on the file of that decision and that judgment. What they took from us originally has come back to us attached with some of their own. So they were never informed that they were already doing some kind of living reparations where they're paying back a debt. The energy stolen from me will quickly return to me. Those who took my energy will return it to me with interest. I will not bear anyone else's karma. That's what I'm hearing. So they couldn't pay the interest on the debt they incurred by attacking us. And there's this saying, especially, it's from Highlander, but it's akin to the Highlander story, Outlander for some of us. Big bank takes little bank. So if you come up against me and you lose, not only do I get to keep what I have, but I get to take what you have. So when that's a spiritual mechanism, uh-oh. Because this is a person that they had a lot to begin with, but they never used it. They abused it, if they did use it. And they're only now coming to appreciate what they've had because they've lost it by trying to take what other people had. This is a very common thing, or at least I see this often, where somebody has their own life path, spirit, karma, destiny. They have their own calling on their life, but then they come across somebody else with a slightly different destiny and they become jealous, envious. Six of Pentacles in reverse is envy. One might think it's greed, it's actually envy. So they see what somebody else has going on and they start trying to get the calling that somebody else has in their life for themselves. They try to get the anointing that somebody else has on them for themselves. And that's always a sign, if you investigate and you play that script to the end, it always comes back during judgment that that person was better off accepting the calling that was on their own life. If you're worrying about what somebody else has, if you're worrying about what somebody else is doing, it's a big indicator that you ain't got enough going on for yourself, or that you don't like what you have for yourself. Somebody that has something to do ain't gonna be worrying about what other people got going on unless it's affecting them in some kind of way. So there's this karmic journey that is ending, and it was burdensome, tedium, but it built us up. All this pressure that we experienced, it kind of turned us into a diamond. And that's just the thing to recognize, to realize. Whatever sparkly diamond that you see is just carbon that was able to survive a bunch of pressure. And as I said, the shots they're taking at us, if they went back, if they reverberated back, if they ricocheted back to the sender, they wouldn't be able to survive. So there's been a completion here, world card, and some type of, and we have a lot of Sagittarius energy here as well. We have the Ten of Wands, which is Saturn in Sagittarius. We have the Nine of Wands, which is Moon in Sagittarius, or the ninth house. So if I was saying Virgo rising, that's true, but there would be Sun They're in the first house alongside. I was saying Pisces rising, that's true, but there would be Mars or Jupiter there in the first house as well. I was saying Sagittarius midheaven, which would be again Pisces rising. And I want to be clear, if we have a Sagittarius midheaven with the Pisces rising, they would have Jupiter and or Mars in the first house and Saturn and or the moon in the 10th house. It's been found through judgment that there was an entity we were dealing with in the form of a human, a being that came up to us. I don't know if they were friend or foe. I don't know if they're past or present. I don't know if they're distant past, recent past. They were doing some type of sorcery, to be precise, which means they had tapped into our own gifts. They had tapped into our own energy and were projecting it back at us adversarially. We learned that lesson. We came through that cycle with flying colors. They also were doing something in collaboration with others, and specifically what's being told is that this was a cabal. So these were other sorcery practitioners that had all banded together through some type of spirit initiation, and they were satanic in nature. I'm gonna go hard here, why not? These satanic practitioners were really about the false mother. They didn't want us to have life because they felt, and life, I'm not talking about dead or alive, I'm talking about growth, vitality, renewal, invigoration, enjoyment, expansion of our consciousness, of our incarnation here. They felt that it was unfair that we were blessed the way that we were because we weren't using our blessings the way that they thought we should have. But they didn't understand the calling on our life. They didn't understand our spirit, karma, life path, destiny. They didn't understand our purpose here in this world. And part of that purpose was to awaken, which means there would have been a period where we weren't using our gifts to the best of our abilities. And that's part of the spiritual initiation. So that's a really malignant soul that is sitting there counting our blessings, saying that we're not using our blessings right, when we haven't even learned about our blessings fully. They thought it was unfair that we were blessed when they had their own blessings. So they were minding our business so heavily that they should have been our employee. And whatever happened, the universe had decided that we were forced to be separated from this person. Because having them in our environment, surrounding location would have caused a double five energy, depletions, destabilizations, debilitations, decrease. They were like a cheese snarl. If you feed it, it will eat you. That's what I'm hearing. So that is the true definition of malignancy. It's a step beyond toxicity. It's malignant, which means it poisons everything in its wake. It's more than just a dark cloud in the sky. It's the form of a spiritual cancer. Well, this just got deep and dark. Excuse me. So they were under investigation. Judgment is when it's spiritual. Investigation is a earthly type of court. This was called judgment because it was celestial court. They were under judgment for quite some time. And they had some kind of illusionary success. They were prideful, vainglorious. They're also abusive. It is also referring to physical abuse here, but let's just call them abusive. They're abusive. And they are not 100% right in their mind. I'm not going to say more. This is a therapeutic space, not a clinical space. There's something about their mental health that is questionable. We don't have the combination for megalomania, but they certainly feel entitled and they live in some kind of reality or partitioned universe where they felt justified in doing what they were doing. And part of this fate is sealed is because they joined this cabal for more power, but this cabal used them as a bird dog to go out and find victims to exploit. But the thing is that they are losing. This cabal is already enshrined to the darkness. So when they're not in the physical, they literally go back into darkness and they're fine with that. They chose that for themselves in a previous life. So when they incarnate, they're on dark assignment. This person was once born with divinity. This person was once born in the light and they lost their way. And instead of taking that temporary or permanent suspension of power, they decided to switch teams knowingly or unknowingly. I'm hearing that they didn't know because they couldn't live with the suspension of power. And honestly, they couldn't live with their credentials suspended for a while. And honestly, um, that was part of the narrative of it being unfair that we were blessed however we were. But you see, that's how you know the soul is lost and they need to go through some heavy duty re-education. That's called purgatory or damnation, frankly, because they need to be purified, not just cleansed. Because when you're doing magic and it's backfiring and you keep doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down again and again and again and again, that's a sign that you're not listening to your spirit. And if whatever backfire is allowed to touch you, this is how you know your spirits have stepped aside and let the universe get a lick in a couple few times to wake you up. So if you're getting shots across the bow and multiple warnings and you're not heeding that warning, how spiritually disciplined are you? How obedient are you to the divine is the question. Because they were on track for initiation into a high rank and it got suspended somewhere along the lines. This was a lifetime where they were going to be let into the group and starting to be trained for great heights. They were supposed to end up in their elderhood as a judge, and for whatever reason, that got scratched away before they entered into their 40s. I don't know how old this person is. They're coming off young, but it is an indication that their soul is just highly underdeveloped. So, the nature of why I was called to the table for this consulship today, it appears that we've been dealing with some type of energy. We might be extra tired. We might be taking naps. We might be having to cut our to-do list short. We might be having to kind of end the day a little bit early. We're not able to do as much as we want because we're energetically healing from a lot. But we're blessed and we're receiving favor in some kind. It did take, however, some changes. We needed to let some things go. We need to make some changes. We need to repel some energies. And we need to acknowledge when somebody's not hitting the grade. We don't need to service or assist the situation. If our standards aren't met, if our boundaries aren't respected, if a person's not making the cut, if they're coming off a little lame, a little limp, we need to call it what it is as lovingly and kindly as possible. Hey, honey, you're not hitting the mark here. Please go back and develop yourself. Repetition when you can meet the standards and qualifications. Uh, does that make sense? Especially unity community partnership. If somebody's trying to holler at us, if somebody's trying to nestle up beside us and enter our rank, if they're not hitting, put it this way, a surgeon's not going to stand next to a person who hasn't even graduated medical school and try to perform surgery with them. That's actually dangerous. And I'm sorry to be so dramatic and dramatizing that idea, but we need to look at it that way. This is going to hurt somebody really bad if some unqualified fool is standing next to us trying to, you know, it's not the statement they're not of our kind, but they're not qualified to be here. They haven't earned their stripes. We have King of Wands, Nine of Wands, Chariot. We've overcome a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. Okay. So, Vertex of Abundance is a galactic temple of ascension delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. If anything that is said resonates deeply with you, go ahead and smash that like button. Today, we will be deliberating the findings from Popular Love Oracle for any type of love or matching or union energy. And that's by Vibe About It Tarot. She's over at Etsy. We will be imposing the guidance from This Might Hurt Tarot. That's the basis of the reading here. And this is by Isabella Rotman. She's over at Liminal 11 Publishing for this deck, This Might Hurt Tarot. And then any type of correlative or corresponding energy will deliberate those from Los Scarabeos Vida Sibilla. That's the daily oracle, again at Los Scarabeos. This is for the double six. And then any type of pairing energy will come from the minor arcana of Cosmic Coven Tarot, and that's by Lillian Lazenby over at Ripe Avocado. So we have we're receiving some type of grace because we really did try to attend to the situation. We tried to nurture this, to be patient, to help this person, however, and they spit in our face, spiritually at least. What is this favor that I'm perceiving here? Yeah, so they are resentment and jealous because things are going easy or we're making the best out of a situation when they were hoping to see us suffer and fail. That's what they really wanted. They wanted us hemmed up like they would because misery loves company. But we made the best out of something. We made lemonade out of those lemons. We turned that mess into a message. And you know what, honey? I add rose water to my lemonade. So go on and give me some lemons. Okay? Put me some Moroccan men or some lavender syrup or some rose water. I make myself some delicious, delectable, delicious lemonade. Go on, fool. Throw me some lemons. And that's just what's up. So they had access, and instead of saying, "Hey, teach me your ways," "Hey, I like how you vibe and I like how you thrive and tell me how you handle up on your life, tell me how you overcome these situations, these circumstances." That's not how they was. That's not what they was about. They were like, "No, you shouldn't be blessed. You should be suffering. I don't know what's wrong with you. Why won't you suffer? Why won't you suffer?" Oh, yeah, I said that. That's really how they're coming off. And they were really devoted to seeing, what are you going to do with this blessing? What are you going to do with this blessing? What are you going to do with this blessing? Why are you worrying about our business? Why don't you go find you something to do? So I want to find out what this burden, this energy projection was, because for a long time in collective, they tried to bury us, but they didn't realize we were a seed. They put us under all this pressure, but they didn't realize we were a diamond. And for a long time, they thought they were going to end us in some kind of way. They were like, you'll never make it to the celestial kingdom. You will never make it because I'm going to devote my life to seeing you fall. Okay, well, what did that do for you? Because what you seem to have done is end yourself. Now, this blessing that was off in the future but had your name on it is never going to come. It's Niguan Hapa. What's up? So now you've buried yourself because you dug a hole for us, but it turned into your little grave. That's unfortunate because it didn't have to be like that. So again, remember I was saying dark cabal? They were collective, but they were dark. La Facita is some type of racket or cabal. Racket is like racketeering, like prostitution or trafficking or um, a theft ring or a racket. It's some type of complex occupation that comes along with fun and money. I'll leave it there. This was a spiritual racket. Okay, babe. So good luck to you. Peace be upon you. Blessings to your exaltation and enlightenment. May you be healed. May you be awakened. Hopefully, and even in this lifetime, um, they're going to learn, but it might not be in this life. Unfortunately, it's going to happen in another life. They're going to have to come again, begin again. You'll be the moon, I'll be the earth, and when you start over, oh darling, begin again, begin again. Yeah, they're gonna have to fix this in another lifetime, and this lifetime is over. They're done, and they should have accepted their lick, and they should have took that lick when their powers were suspended or whatever, but they decided to start stealing from others. Okay, let me get away from this because it's only getting progressively worse and it's late. I don't want to be thinking about these things before bed, but okay. So there was whatever they received in terms of punishment was actually a blessing. They were told to stop and to heed and to be mindful, but that's not what they did. What they did was start acting in secret and orchestrating and machinations. That's okay, babes. So you get what you get because you did what you did, and you're going to sit here and hoot and holler about it, whine and wail about it, yell and yodel about it, quarrel and quibble about it when you know what you did and you were told. So I'm confused why people do the dirty and then act like a victim. Isn't that like something toxic? I'm confused. But that's also a sign of our goodness and our grace because when they do the dirty and when they do the evil and the backhanded thing, we don't understand. And I think that we never will understand because we're not evil. They're mad because they're untouchable, Five of Pentacles. They're mad because they're criminal. They've been given a mark. They're branded as criminal or demonic. Five of Pentacles, untouchable with the Lover's card. Five of Wands, criminal or demonic with the Lover's card. The Lover's card, when you see a bunch of fives, it talks about status. They can't rank, they're rankless. All they want to do is return to the fold, but see, you got to do your lit. You were punished. You were told to go out there and work on yourself and come back when you can level up, handle up. And all you were focused on was increase. But that's the thing. This is rumination, oscillation, vacillation. Instead of doing what you were told to wait to return, see, that means you don't respect the Lord. That means you're disobedient. You're non-reprobate. You can't condemn yourself and repent. Okay, let me stop because this is not getting any better. Whew, goodness, what is this? You'll be the moon, I'll be the earth, and when you burst, start over, oh darling. Take it again. That's still Vanessa, I think. Okay, so we have a pair of tens, which is unfortunate here because it's purgatory, 10 of wands, and heaven, 10 of cups. Okay, so this fell down. So a message from the other side: envy, jealousy, greed. It's envy specifically. Yeah, they're envious because they have to go through some kind of purgatory, and that could have been on Earth, but now they've got to do it in the afterlife, which means they're not. It's going to take them a couple few lifetimes to work that off. Uh, Sorry, babes, you were told. And then we have a pair of sixes here. Six of swords, which is receiving grace. We were let out of hell. Six of pentacles, which is receiving favor. They had to pay some kind of reparation. So we might have been given what they thought they were going after. That's part of, well, now I understand why they were acting this way. Because when somebody new comes on the scene and they get given very easily what you've been bending over backwards to get, that I get it. Yeah. So there was some type of bigotry here. Yeah, but they also tried to marry themselves to us in the spirit. There was some kind of unauthorized union that was revoked, and they can't reinstate it. They got annulled. Something happened in terms of an annulment, and it didn't have to be a union, a spirit marriage. It could be that their compact, their agreement, their position, their status, their credentials, something got annulled. Not rescinded, not revoked, not canceled, annulled, which meant that the basis of it was fraudulent. That's the only way annulment happens in this world and the next. The only way an annulment can happen is if the basis of it was fraudulent. Something was faulty from the start. Otherwise, you have to go through a divorce or a severance or something. It was never, we never had to go that far. We were able to petition for annulment because um, it was fraudulent. Wow, this is not getting any better. What's this purified? Yeah, so there's a energy of being left to our own devices here, Nine of Pentacles, and we now can get whatever assistance from the universe that we need. And now we're also learning what happened to us. And then again, they're having a bunch of backfires. Now they're seen as guilty. They have shame and guilt. They have remorse, regret. And see, when they're left to their own devices, they get haunted. And when we're left to our own devices, we get informed and instructed. What does that tell you? And then there's this need to accept defeat. And the glory here was to go to heaven or the eternal kingdom. That's not what's happening to them. They have to go through some type of damnation. There's the karma is too heavy. They can't ascend. Now they want to, and they will eventually go to heaven, but um, they have charges against them. Ten of Swords, Eight of Swords, King of Swords. They have charges against them. But King of Pentacles, King of Cups. So we have this is the third time three kings have come out. We also have a pair of kings here in this reading. Let's clarify that. So they're gonna want to come back to Earth because they need a lifetime where they're golden, they're acclaimed, they're celebrated, or something. That's part of what their soul desires, but they keep going about it the wrong way, and they need to build that up over lifetimes, and they're not willing to do that. So when they do make it out of purgatory or damnation, really, if they go to damnation, that's going to be really hard because they got to spend an entire eternity there. Purgatory could be considerably less. A lot of people think eternity is forever, and depending on what kind of spiritual body you are in, it can be, but it's really in Earth years only 4.32 billion years. They will come back, nine of wands. They will come back. That they're going to make that part of their spiritual agreement with the divine. Okay, but they want to have a lifetime where we're connected, and that's the thing. We've already said no, we're done. We're not going to spend any more lifetimes with you. I'm just it, it can be that they have to pay a debt. Um, and I do see one being incurred here, Ten of Wands with the Five of Pentacles, but it's they're the ones paying the debt to us because we have the King of Pentacles, King of Wands on our side, and then Nine of Swords. They're incurring expenses here. Um, they're the ones who had an infraction. Okay, so I'm just interested in seeing this energy again. So what is this? It's interesting because we have the Five of Pentacles, Five of Wands, King of Wands, King of Pentacles. So we've got to extend this reading. Let's see what precisely the debt is, why we would need to see them in another lifetime. Let's also see what this 999 is about. It's a message from them, anxiety, or um, they're too dogged. They feel the need to impose some type of victory. It's saying that they will do bad things in order to be victorious. And they want to hold on to us at any cost because our love is the path that they need. If they get access to our soul, that's what they're coveting. Because we have the power to let them out of hell, but we shouldn't. It wouldn't be fair. It's like a judge that um, rules out of bias. We can't do that. We need to let them experience what they're experiencing because that's the thing that's gonna make them worthy of heaven. And to intervene in their punishment, to intervene in whatever spiritual sanctions the universe has decided is for them, we would be lessening their karma, and that's really not going to be the best for them, not for their eternal life. So they need to come back to some type of loving heart, and that's not where they're at right now. Right now, they have a greedy heart. So let's check into this king and queen, because we might have been rulers together in a previous lifetime. They might have tried to take over our kingdom or wage some type of war. Oh yeah, they waged war with us in a previous life, but we should have unified our nations, and that's not what happened. So they think they're better, but they don't realize that we have the same maturity level. We might even be more mature than them, and they should have been trying to learn from us. And they're mad because we catch everything, we clock everything they do. That's enraging them. They want to seduce us in some kind of way. So they think that by doing their little fancy work and their little come hither tricks or whatever, what have you, they're going to get some kind of affection, adoration, appreciation, acknowledgement from us, attention or something. And that's not the case. They need to recognize this is pretty bombastic what they're doing. because they're plagued by depression, by ambition, maybe even addiction. They're unstable. Literally, the card is calling them unstable. And remember, I was saying there's something off about their mind. This is a therapeutic space, not a clinical space. They are unstable in some way, and it's not my space to say what that is, but I'm going to mention it for the third time. Unstable, very difficult. They can't connect to themselves or others. They might not have the capacity for that right now. And they target people. They target. And they were already at a place where they were advised to stop. They already went through a season of, this is what the Five of Pentacles is, of hardship to arrest their thinking and to make them condemn themselves, and they chose not to. They were already put in union with us. We already had an agreement to help them heal before we came here, and we've done it in previous lifetimes, and it didn't work. They completely ignored their assignment and decided to change the script. So whatever befalls them in terms of karma, it is supposed to. And we've been reading long enough, so I'll extend this reading. I'll check many different things, and if you check the link in the show notes, it will say more information. Like when you click the link in the show notes, it'll actually say, here's what we're further explaining, because I don't know what we're going to figure out in this. This is just so content rich. I got to take a break and come back. So it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you. If you don't check the extended reading, let's do a quick dedication of merit right now. Just a prayer to all those still lost out there, to illusion, delusion, confusion, lost in season time, trapped somewhere in the matrix, yet to heal, yet to awaken, yet to return to the resplendent grace of the divine unconditional love and universal oneness. Honoponopono, great spirit, we love them. We're sorry, please forgive us. Thank you. We pray that their steps are ordered, their path illuminated, and that they find salvation and redemption in this lifetime. May we all be healthy. May we all be well. May we all be at peace. May we all be whole. May we all receive everything we ever wanted, starting with what we deserve. Until we meet again, until we read again. Namaste, Dhanava, and Ashe, Sayonara, that's Vidanya Veda Zane. Go ahead and smash that like button. As always, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a session, send a donation if anything resonates deeply with you. And until we meet again, until we read again. Namaste, Dhanava, and Ashe, Sayonara, that's Vidanya Veda Zane. Take good care. Bye bye.